Welcome to CTD130 Lifespan Development. In this lecture, we will cover the cognitive theories of human development. By the end of this session, you should be able to describe how cognitive development progresses according to Piaget, describe information processing theory processes, describe how Vygotsky concepts of scaffolding and zone of proximal development influences cognitive development, and lastly, describe Bandura's concept of modeling, reciprocal determinism, and self-efficacy. Cognitive theories focus on the mental aspects of development, such as logic and memory. For example, when a baby throws objects from a shopping cart, she watches intently, building mental pictures of her surroundings. This repetitive action helps her learn about cause and effect until she evolves to more complex interactions with the world. Jean Piaget focused on the question, how does thinking develop? He observed that all children progress through the same sequence of discoveries, making similar mistakes. For instance, 3 and 4 years old might believe that pouring water from a short, wide glass into a tall, narrow one increases the amount of water, while most 7-year-olds understand that the amount remains the same. To explain these age differences, Piaget introduced several key concepts that influence developmental research. A key concept in Piaget model is the scheme, an internal cognitive structure that guides behavior in specific situations. For instance, to pick up a ball, you use your picking up scheme. To throw it, you engage your looking, aiming, and throwing scheme. Piaget suggested that we start life with basic sensory and motor schemes like looking and touching, which become more effective through experience. As we grow, these mental schemes enables us to use symbols and think logically. He identified 3 processes that explain how we evolve from simple to complex mental schemes throughout childhood, adolescence, and adulthood. The first one is assimilation, which is the process of using existing schemes to understand experiences, like a baby who grabs up a toy using his grasping scheme. The second concept is the accommodation. On the other hand, this concept involves modifying the schemes of assimilation based on new information. For instance, when the baby grasps a square object for the first time, the baby adjusts the grip for future interactions. This process of accommodation is crucial for developmental change, helping us enhance our skills and reorganize our thinking. And lastly, the concept of equilibration is the process of balancing assimilation and accommodation to create schemes that align with the environment. For example, infants tend to explore objects by putting them in their mouths. Initially, they assimilate objects into their mouthing scheme. As they learn from their experience, like enjoying a pacifier by finding a dead insect unpleasant, they accommodate their scheme, refining it to indicate what is acceptable to mouth. This process helps their mouthing scheme better fit the real world. We will cover briefly here Piaget's stages of cognitive development. They will also be covered later on in other lectures. The first stage is the sensoriomotor stage. During this stage, from birth to 18 months, infants interact with the world through their senses and motor actions. By the end of this period, they start to use simple symbols like single words and engage in pretend play. The second stage is called the pre-operational stage. From 18 months to around age 6, children develop symbolic schemes like language and fantasy for thinking and communication. By age 2, they can use symbols to express thoughts, and by the end of this stage, they begin to understand others' perspective, classify objects, and apply simple logic. The third stage is called the concrete operational stage. Between ages 6 to 12, children begin to think logically and understand concepts like conservation, which means a change in appearance doesn't change quantity. Children's reasoning improves as well, although it remains connected to their immediate experiences, allowing them to handle simple what-ifs. question by the end of this stage. The last stage that was theorized by Piaget is called the formal operational stage, in which adolescents learn to think logically about abstract ideas and hypothetical situations. The teen begins to manipulate ideas as well as objects. She thinks hypothetically and, by adulthood, can easily manage a variety of what-ifs questions. She greatly improves her ability to organize ideas and objects mentally. We will cover as well the information processing theory. The goal of information processing theory is to explain how the mind manages information. Information processing theorists use the computer as a model of human thinking. Consequently, they focus on what happens to information as it enters the mind, which is called the input, is transferred by mental programs, output, and is used to perform actions, output. The study and theorization of memory processes are fundamental to information processing theory. This theory divides memory into three sub-processes: encoding, storage, and retrieval. Encoding involves organizing information for storage in memory. For instance, you might encode information in this chapter by connecting it to your own experiences from childhood. Storage refers to retaining information, while retrieval is about accessing information from memory. As information moves through these memory processes, we employ mental strategies to handle information, enabling us to perform mental tasks, solve everyday problems, and learn new skills. Most memory research assumes that a human memory is made up of multiple components. The idea is that information moves through these components in an organized way. For example, when you hear a word, it first enters your sensory memory before being recognized as a specific pattern of sounds. It then moves into short-term memory, also known as working memory, where the word's meaning is retrieved from long-term memory. This connection allows you to understand the world. Different memory components manage information in unique ways. Sensory memory processes information in a continuous stream, but unattended bits quickly fade. Short-term memory has a limited capacity of about 7 items, but information can be retained through processing like repeating a grocery list. In contrast, long-term memory has an unlimited capacity, often storing information based on meaningful association. For instance, recalling the sentence, "Bill wrote a letter to his brother," might lead you to mistakenly remember the word pen, as details about writing are linked together in long-term memory. Next, we will cover Vygotsky's social cultural theory. Vygotsky's social cultural theory emphasizes that complex thinking originates from social interactions, unlike Piaget's view of private explorations. He introduced the concept of scaffolding, where a more skilled individual, such as an adult or older sibling, guides a child learning by structuring their experiences. To do this effectively, the adult must maintain the child's attention, model strategies, and adapt to the child's developmental level, known as a zone of proximal development. For instance, parents support a beginning reader by helping them sound out new words. Vygotsky ideas have significant educational implications. Unlike Piaget's emphasis on independent exploration, Vygotsky advocates for assisted discovery, where teachers provide scaffolding through questions and demonstrations. This approach should occur with each child's zone of proximal development for effectiveness. Lastly, we will cover Bandura's social cognitive theory. Bandura's ideas emphasize the roles of thinking, or cognition, and the learning by observation, modeling, in human behavior. For example, Bandura's social cognitive theory suggests that phobias might be learned vicariously while watching someone else perform some action and experience reinforcements or punishment. Learning of this type, called observational learning or modeling, is involved in a wide range of behaviors. Children learn to hit by watching other people in real life and on television. Adults learn job skills by observing or being shown them by others. Bandura's ideas are more influential among developmental psychologists than those of the conditioning theories, as he contends that learning does not always require reinforcement. Furthermore, what a person learns from observing others is influenced by processes such as attention and memory. Maturation is also important. Bandura says that a 4-year-old probably won't learn geometry from watching his high school-age sister do her homework. Bandura also suggests that what an observer learns from a particular model is influenced by his own goals, expectations about what kinds of consequences are likely if he adopts the model's behavior, and judgments of his own performance. Bandura also proposed the concept of reciprocal determinism, which highlights the interplay between three factors: personal, cognitive abilities, beliefs and attitudes, behavioral actions, and environmental surroundings and social interactions. This perspective suggests that while we are influenced by our circumstances, we can also shape our environment, affecting our future expectations and experiences. In children, this active involvement is crucial in modeling their behavior and personality development. Bandura also emphasized the self-efficacy, the belief in one's ability to achieve goals. Individuals with strong self-efficacy expect success and show greater effort and persistence in challenges. In contrast, those with low self-efficacy tend to have lower expectations and may avoid difficult tasks. In summary, Piaget studied logical thinking development across 4 stages: sensory-motor, pre-operational, concrete operational, and formal operational. He suggested that progression between these stages occurs due to the changes in mental frameworks called schemes. Information processing theory models intellectual processes like memory and problem solving using computers. It highlights both age and individual differences in how efficiently people use their information processing systems. Thirdly, Vygotsky's social cultural theory has become important to developmentalist attempts to explain how culture affects development. And lastly, Bandura's social cognitive theory assumes reciprocal interactions about persons and behavioral factors and the environment. This lecture is based on Boyd, Johnson and B. Lifespan Development, pages 46 to 52.